So thank you for agreeing to get one more interview, and I hope I
This
won't
is-
be asking the same questions you've had all day.
Oh, so at least I'll practice the answers.
Okay. So I thought I would focus a little bit on your being the Canadian icon that you are, and start by asking how a boy from Kirkland Lake ends up in Los Angeles.
You just, if you fail at enough things, you end up finding the thing you can do. Northern Ontario and my family upbringing there was a great place, highly recommended to anybody who wants to explore their interests and pursue them in ways that you might not get to do in a big city where you get swallowed up in the crowd. I had a chance to play certain sports or be the MC of the local variety show or tell a couple of jokes or do the kinds of things that, you can only do in a school with 400 students. You get 4,000 students in that school, and it's hard to get noticed. So I'm very grateful to my upbringing in a small, simple place where you entertain yourself and you learn about yourself.
In a small place like that, did you contemplate getting to Hollywood?
No. I mean, I think I didn't have any more entertainment fantasies than an ordinary teenagers who would think, wouldn't it be great to be a hockey star or a rock star, but nothing beyond that.
Well, it wasn't like you had just a simple talent. You have many talents.
I'm a master of B talents. I'm a fast food renaissance man. I'm a go-to guy for a lot of different things, and not the most fabulous guy in town at any of them, but okay at all of them.
Well, which do you enjoy the most?
I think I enjoy the music a lot. And not necessarily performing it publicly, but writing and doing those initial demos when you're not hearing the limitations of your own voice, and you hear things that you can't possibly reproduce. But the excitement of collaborating with talented people, and the first rush of hearing that chord that just works, or having that lyric that a eureka moment, that's really fun, and without the pressure of public scrutiny.
Interesting. You know that March of Dimes is a member of the Canada-California Business Council, and you've become the chair of Canadians Abroad. Can you say why that's important to you?
Well, when I first arrived in LA in the 70s, it was a very small community of Canadians. Actually, there were a lot there, but as Jack Kent Cook, who owned the LA Kings, pointed out, the big population was there and had all moved there because they hated hockey, because he couldn't get any of them to a hockey game. There was still nobody coming to hockey games, and his conclusion was that that's why they left Canada. But it was an interesting observation on the fact that there was really no kind of unity, camaraderie, community of Canadians. They were separated, spread out all over Southern California, so there wasn't a meeting place, if you will. In fact, I would credit Wayne Gretzky when he came there in the late 80s as being one of the catalysts that suddenly drew a lot of Canadians to be in the same building together, when the only time you would have seen them otherwise was at a concert by Gordon Lightfoot, the Guess Who, Anne Murray, or Neil Young, and that was the only time Canadians got together.
Joni Mitchell.
And Joni Mitchell would have been another one. But there was no regular communing. And I think that now there are so many Canadians in the business down there. In fact, we don't even know who each other is. The place is overrun by Canadians now. It's lousy with Canadians. And we're all very proud still when we hear that somebody's a Canadian or when we recognize that, but we don't all know each other the way we used to. And I guess that's a good thing. That's a burgeoning Canadian presence. So the Canadians Abroad, of which I'm honorary chair, I'm delighted that they have activities and gatherings regularly through the year where Canadians can commune, and not only is it fun with some nice people you can relate to, but it has business impact beyond the social.
Right, and we're very fortunate to have been designated a charity, the charity of choice for the Council and Canadians Abroad, so we're thrilled to be able to participate. I'd actually heard at one time that Los Angeles was like the third or fourth largest Canadian city,
Well, it might have been.
population-wise, yeah.
I mean, even back then, it was over 500,000.
Yeah, way ahead of most Canadian cities. We're particularly interested in knowing what drew you to the March of Dimes and why you agreed to be our special guest.
I think for my generation, it's part of your Canadian DNA. As the first important charity or highly visible charity and organization to do with public health that I had become aware of and heard of. I mean, in my Northern Ontario communities, you know, if you heard about March of Dimes, Easter Seals, Whipper Belly Watson, I mean, you start, you know, the fabric of all of that coming together is simply an awareness. And for that reason, it became one of the kind of grandfathered awarenesses of healthcare that I would have been aware of.
Great, we're thrilled. And I also know that your son has become tremendously successful. Robin's now an international celebrity, so how does that feel?
I love it. You know, I've had some people who say, gee, doesn't it bug you that you're now known as Robin Thicke's dad? And to which I say, you're not a parent, are you? Yeah, you don't have kids. No, it's a thrill, and he's a great son, and my favorite thing about, the thing I'm proudest about my sons is that they're good parents.
Wonderful.
Robin is a devoted dad, so is Brennan, and he's a great son. I mean, we're literally in touch every day.
Very close
I mean,
family.
he's been in Europe on a tour, and doesn't seem to be a day go by that I don't get a text or a report or a phone call.
Fabulous.
Something.
And you have a new reality show that's going to air this fall. I think it's on the Slice Network, is that right?
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about what we expect to see?
We're trying to do something a little different and grow the reality show format a little bit and move it a little closer to sitcom. So we see it as being somewhere between Larry David and the Kardashians. And we're calling it a reality comedy. It will not be the kind of reality, pardon me. We're calling it reality comedy, and it will not be the kind of show where you turn over tables and cuss at people and throw wine at them. And we will hope it has more of a sitcom sensibility where you show real life problems, conflicts, challenges, but at the end of the day, it's a loving family that cares about each other and has each other's back, and so that's the goal. But to make it surprising and funny along the way, and kind of exaggerated versions of who we really are. We see it as kind of the real-life modern family, where I got a hot young Latino wife and a teenage boy and the occasionally cranky old Canadian, calm, collected, otherwise.
Casual dad.
Yeah.
So my last question would be, since not everybody's going to be at the dinner tonight, and hopefully lots of people will hear this little tape, what's the message that you would want to share with people who care about the March of Dimes?
My biggest observation, if you will, or message is the importance of the private sector. That by definition, caregiver, personal contact is the heart and soul of caregiving. That there are other functions performed by medical and scientific and government communities, but when it comes right down to it, to the bruised and battered soul of the afflicted, caregiving is a very personal, one-on-one, hands-on function. and requires understanding and personal, individual relating. And I talk about the snowflake principle, where everybody's a little different. And and some people want to cry all day, and they're welcome to that. They deserve that. They're the one diagnosed. They should write the script. My grandmother, after her stroke, always wanted to open with a joke. It was the joke of the day that she had. So that's primarily what I'll be talking about, is the private sector, the importance of that, and the hands-on nature, and the things to watch for as caregivers. The woe is me syndrome. Allow it. Let them cry. They damn well you deserve it.
Fabulous.
The chain of pain, the trickle-down theory, where you start to be aware of how many people are affected, the decisions that have to be made by the family, the arguments that will pop up in the family about caregiving, the hope for the future, where does that lie? So that's kind of what I've observed and experienced, and that's what I'll be yapping about.
Well, I think that would be the message that we would really want to share with all the caregivers that we support across the country. We are actually building peer support groups for caregivers. So if we don't manage to get this in front of everybody, maybe we can get you in front of everybody. We'll have you
Do
come
that,
back and
or,
travel.
No, that's fabulous.
Yeah,
Feel-
it's
feel-
a fantastic
I
message.
just came from a big meeting.
Fantastic message.
Great.
Exactly what
Great.
So
Okay.
thank you for that.
Well, thank you.
Thank you so much.
Pleasure. Nice meeting you. I think that's.